this story from Florida State, where the football team held a meeting Thursday morning after defensive lineman Marvin Wilson disputed that new head coach Mike Norvell had reached out to players individually to discuss the death of George Floyd. After the meeting, Wilson thanked Norvell on Instagram for clarifying the issues, and here is what he posted. He posted, "We took a stand, we got what we wanted, and we are moving forward. I appreciate Coach Norvell for encouraging me to use my platform and speak for what me and teammates believe in. Be the change that you need when you were growing up and help build black communities up and take back what is ours." A fascinating turn of events with the Seminoles, and so we put together a group here to talk about it. Paul Finebaum with us, Laura is with us, and Des, I want to start with you because I saw your notes this morning about players taking a degree of power in a way that perhaps they rarely do. I'd love you to share some of your thoughts here with the audience.
I tell you what, when I heard that story, Green, it really got me excited because I'm all for the players understanding who they are and what they mean to the university and to the areas the universities are in. So the Florida State players did one important thing. They came together. I remember back in 2015, Greeny, when the Northwestern football players, they wanted to form an official players union. They shot that down, but then a few months later, the players at Missouri, they got sick and tired of being sick and tired about the racial incidents on campus, and they band together, the white players, the black players, and they said, listen, we're not going to take part in any other football-related activities until the president, Tim Wolf, is removed. 48 hours later, Tim Wolf step down. You don't have to have any organization verify you as a union. Just come together as a team and for a common cause, and then you'll really realize just how much power you have. So that was just tremendous for me to see. Greeny, I think they're starting to wake up a sleeping giant with these football players.
It's a very interesting thought, Laura, because here we have been talking for the last few weeks during the coronavirus period about just how much money is at stake for these games to be played, and that clearly factors into this. What are your thoughts?
No, absolutely. And I think what Des said was so well said in all of this, because the players that I've talked to have always kind of felt like they have this voice that needs to be heard. And a lot of times they feel like they're silenced by a variety of things. The universities say, well, we don't want you to speak out too much because, you know, then we might have to do damage control. And I think that's all now gone to the side. I think we are going to see a renewed voice for these players and really a new age for them to start dictating what they want to. And it starts certainly with the issues of racial injustice in our country, and that's going to continue to be important. Des mentioned Missouri. I thought it was really powerful to see just 5 years after the protests that he was talking about that did enact change. 5 years later, they are all peacefully protesting and then marching to the local courthouse to register to vote together as an entire football team under Eli Drinkwitz, their new coach. And I think we're going to continue to see things like this that are sparked by players, and it really can have a lot more reverberation beyond just this current time period, and who knows how that factors in with the future of the NCAA.
Paul, is this the beginning of the dawning of a new era in college football?
Absolutely, Greeny, and it's pretty incredible to watch for somebody who has covered the game for nearly 40 years. I mean, this is an unprecedented paradigm shift, the likes of which I don't think anyone could have predicted. I mean, I covered football in a day when Bear Bryant's players 40 years later still wouldn't criticize him. Today they would be doing it on social media, and it creates a lot of issues, I think. As positive as I think all of us agree, coaches don't have a playbook. When someone like we saw yesterday can go on social media and unload on the coach in real time, what are they going to do? Yeah, they are playing along right now. I think deep down they have to be a little bit concerned in relation to discipline and how they get control of teams sometimes. Having said all that, I'm all for it.
Des, let me ask you, because it feels like most of the time when we talk about whatever power players don't have in collegiate sports, we're talking about money. We're talking about name, image, and likeness. We're talking about players getting paid. How does that factor into this? Are these two separate things to you, or can the idea of players getting paid be connected to this conversation?
I think they're all interconnected, Greeny. I believe that players are starting to see that the writing is on the wall. They are starting to realize that they're not powerless. For so long, the coaches, the administration, they had all of these players believing that they only had certain rights, their voices couldn't be heard on certain things, and that they couldn't make any money. Now that the players are starting to understand they can make money, or they're going to be able to make money on their name, image, and likeness, and that they have certain powers, I believe you're starting to wake up this sleeping giant, and I believe it's good. And Paul talked about, well, what type of concerns do the coaches have? Well, listen, if you're going to be fair and just to your players and treat them accordingly, then you shouldn't have any concerns. You should be okay. But if you're going to treat them unfairly, then watch out, because now they understand they have avenues in which to get information out.
Absolutely. Laura, how about the money piece of this? It feels to me those two things feel different to me. They don't feel like the same conversation.
Yeah, I do think they're separate in a variety of ways, but to Dez's point, this is just an overall grabbing of power that they've always had from the players and this empowerment amongst each other. And so I think that may lead to more progress along those lines of just getting them more compensation beyond just name, image, and likeness. And we know that these things move very slow in the past. I think we could be entering an age where things don't move as slow for these players and where they can finally get a little bit more of what maybe they've already deserved. It is interesting, too, at one final point on just the accountability factor here. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of these coaches held accountable by their players. And that really, when you think about this, is the one group that can truly hold their coaches accountable. The media really doesn't matter that much in this type of conversation. You know, maybe other outside sources or boosters or whatever it may be. The players are the ones that these coaches at the end of the day have to answer to. They have to lead. They have to coach them. And in order to do that, there has to be extreme buy-in from their players to be successful in that area.
Oh, that's such a good